Agenda item number 19. I believe everybody is aware that Councillor Minsher resigned a couple of weeks ago. This item gives the options of what are available to us under the Local Government Act, not under any thing that may be in our minds. It's simply extrapolated out of the Local Government Act. We do not have to have a by-election because we're under 12 months out from an election. In fact, we're not even allowed to have a by-election even if we wanted to, and I wouldn't think there would be a desire to spend ratepayers' money doing that for a 3-month period. It points out some issues that you may be able to fill the vacancy if there was a desire to do so, etc, etc. So, Ms Jakes, I'll hand over to you. I'm not sure if you just want to take it as read and let the councillors ask questions. I'll open it up to the floor. So, do you want to add anything to what I've said, or would you just like to open it up?
No, I think you've covered that very well. There's just 2 options available, either to appoint or to not.
Okay, so I had a hand up there first, Councillor Williams and Councillor Downer.
Yes, in the interest of democracy, Your Worship, I'd like to propose that a third option, third resolution be adopted, or be added.
Yep.
And that is that the next highest polling candidate in the local government elections 2010 be appointed.
Can I just comment on that? That would be contained in part of your process. So if you decided you wanted to fill the vacancy, one of the things you need to do is decide what the criteria is you want to use. Then you would use that as your criteria for appointing a person. So
that suggestion of a third resolution can't go there?
Well, it's contained in the option 2 as the process.
So if Councillor Williams wanted to appoint the highest polling candidate from the last elections, that comes under option 2, does it?
Yes.
The local government council will enter into the process to appoint an eligible person to fill the vacancy created following Councillor Rex Minsher's resignation from council on the 13th of March 2013. So if Councillor Williams has that desire that she's just expressed, which may or may not have support in the council, she would have to go for option 2. Is that what you're saying, Councillor
Williams? Ms Jakes, are you saying that it's absolutely impossible under the Local Government Act, or under local government rules, that I cannot add a third option?
The Local Electoral Act gives you the 2 options, which are specifically either to appoint or to have a vacancy. There's nothing in there which says you have to appoint the next highest polling candidate. So through the appointment process, that's how you determine what your eligibility criteria would be. So if you want to determine that you want to appoint somebody, you would say, and give public notice, etc., that the criteria you are using would be the next highest polling candidate at the previous election.
Councillor Williams?
Yes, well, with due respect, I don't accept that because I don't favour the autocratic notion of this council thinking it's a board of directors and that it could potentially choose somebody for their specific skills. I think that we should be seen to be listen to the people and in the name of democracy introduce a third option. So that's my final stance on it.
Okay, Councillor Downer?
I'd like to move option number 1.
I have a mover for option number 1, that pursuant to section 1173B of the Local Electoral Act 2001, no appointment be made to fill the extraordinary vacancy on council created following Councillor Rex Minsher's resignation on council on the 13th of March 2013, which means that Waka is 1 paddler short till the elections.
Excuse me, Your Worship, I moved that and you haven't asked for a seconder. I moved a resolution.
I didn't hear you move a resolution.
Yes, I did.
Well, you can only move 1 or 2, and you
I
tried
moved
to
a
move another
resolution
one.
to enter a third option. We debated it, and I said that I still wanted to
But
stick
Miss-
with it, and I would like to, you
But
to
Ms
ask
Jakes
for a
says she can't
seconder.
do that. Can she do that or not, Ms Jakes?
Well, in terms of the process, the process that you would follow would take into account the highest polling candidate.
I'm not voting. Can?
Any council can put forward any proposed resolution.
Right, read out your proposed resolution, please, Councillor Williams, and I will look for a seconder. Could you read it out so I could write it down, please?
Yep, the proposed resolution, your
Slowly,
worship.
slowly, the proposed...
No.
Eh?
That the next highest polling candidate in the local government elections 2010 be appointed. And,
So-
well, words to, I mean, that's the meaning, the words can be refined. So,
Well, you're the refiner, what do you want? I've got so far that the next highest polling candidate be appointed.
from the local government
From what?
2010 elections
From 2010 elections.
be appointed.
Okay, that is now
To
moved
fill
by
to
Councillor...
fill the
Sorry?
extraordinary extraordinary vacancy.
Yes.
I don't know.
It don't have to be because it's two wards, so you can be specific.
Oh, he's from the, he's from the
From
Taupo-Kaingaroa
2010 elections, from
Taupo-Kaingaroa ward.
Taupo-Kaingaroa and Mangakino Pouakani from memory.
No, just the TK.
Oh, just TK ward. So the resolution reads, moved by Councillor Williams, that the next highest polling candidate be appointed from the 2010 elections from the TK ward. Is that right? Right.
To fill the,
To fill the extraordinary vacancy.
fill the extraordinary.
Where does that bit go? From the TK ward to Phil?
Yeah.
Carry on.
Just from
To
there.
Phil. Right, to Phil. Okay, so to Phil, the vacancy created following Councillor Rex Minch's resignation from Council on 20 March 2013. Is that all right? Okay, that's moved. Is there a seconder, please? I'll call one more time for a seconder to the resolution, please. There being none, the resolution falls. I'll now take the resolution moved by Councillor Downer, which is option 1 on your page, which I read out before. No appointment be made to fill the extraordinary vacancy on council created following Councillor Rex Minch's resignation on the 13th March 2013. Does that motion have a seconder, please? Seconded, Councillor Johnson. Does anybody want to speak against the motion? That's correct meeting protocol, I believe. So therefore I won't bother calling for to speak for the motion. Oh, sorry,
Yes,
you're speaking against the motion?
yes, I am, and I'd also like to be brought to the public attention that that it's been discussed that the salary of Councillor Rex Minch should be shared amongst the existing councillors as per their entitlement under the Act.
Yeah, I think that goes without, you can answer, but that goes without saying because this council at the start of its triennium in the interest of wanting to work as a cohesive team decided it wouldn't take meeting fees, etc. It would just take the pool and divide it amongst the people of the pool, which is all of you. So it would stand to reason since the resignation on March the 13th, that money will go back in the pool and be divided amongst the surviving, well not surviving, it's the wrong word, the remaining councillors. Somebody should be. Sorry.
That's a requirement from the Remuneration Authority anyway.
So that's done and dusted? Right, fine. So nobody else wants to speak, well, that wasn't against the motion, that was just a point. Do you want to speak against the motion?
No, I was just going to make a comment. It is hard to survive.
I'm not saying no. Okay.
Your Worship, I have spoken against the motion because I have made it clear that I don't think the option 1 is necessarily in following the democratic process with the people who spoke at the last election. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, well, I sincerely do hope, and I really do Cam, and we're in a public arena and we've got media in the paper, etc. I sincerely hope we are following the democratic process, because I'm now going to put it to the vote. We have a mover, a seconder. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. And I will call for a show of hands, please. Heckling, Truman, Kepper, Downer, Johnson and Councillor Henderson. Against? Councillor Williams. Moved. Moving to agenda item number 20, Chief Executive Officer's report. Mr. Williams, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll leave the report as tabled, just to say that this month's report encompasses the draft annual plan, or the completion of the draft annual plan for consultation, and to highlight the fact that with a sterling amount of work from everybody involved, we've managed to reduce the projected LTP increase of 7.38% down to 4.4%. Just to make a note that projects are all progressing very well, and that our financial position is very strong, and I'm sure that the staff in the room and Mr. Manhattan will answer any questions along with myself if there are any.
Okay, now at 2 or 3 council meetings, Mr. Manhattan has asked many times if there's any questions in his financials, so he can be prepared to answer them. Would you please email them through? Have you received any emails, Mr. Manhattan? Okay, I'll now open it up to the floor. Councillor Henderson.
The bottom of the first page refers to delays in some erosion control works around the lake resulting from consenting matters and certain other financial considerations. I know discussions are ongoing, but is there any update we can get on how that work's progressing? Because I know some councillors were meeting.
I'll give an update on that. We have now received permission from the Tūwharetau Maori Trust Board, the owners of the lake bed, have given us permission to do the replenishment work at Kuritown, which will be all go ahead. We have a meeting, not next Monday because that's Good Monday. We have another meeting with the power generators on the Friday. In the very near future, there's 3 on the committee, with you, myself and Councillor Kirk, are meeting again with the power generators to come to an agreement as to the financial input of the 3 parties, Waikato Regional Council, power generators and ourselves.
We have consent from Waikato Regional Council.
Oh, and we have that consent as well. So all consents are in place. It's simply a matter of sitting around the table and who pays for what share of what, and that is very imminent in the next few days, I think, our meeting. Councillor Williams?
And could I ask you, Your Worship, what you are advocating that the power company should pay us this year?
I don't think I should disclose that in the public arena. That's what's that word? It's confidential negotiation. But provided we don't sign confidential agreements or anything like that, I am batting as hard as I can for the least amount of culpability to our ratepayer. And unless I'm sworn by some secrecy at the end of that meeting, I will certainly be telling you what Monday the 8th is the meeting.
Are you, sorry.
Sorry, go back. Oh, well, hang on, finish with you.
Oh, no, so you following the formula that's been used previously for other works around the lake with regards
no,
to
there is no
not?
formula and there is no precedent. As far as the regional council and ourselves are concerned, we are certainly using Project Watershed, which is 55-45, and unfortunately we're the 55. But the ratio of the power generators and us, should it be 80-20, 50-40, I don't know what it will be, is yet to be negotiated.
So the power generators portion is not in the Waikato Regional Council as before, it's in with us, is it?
Well, let's try to be a little bit, I'll just use out of the sky figures. Let's say the job cost $200,000, just say, and just say after negotiations the council share was $50,000. That $50,000 would be 55 us and 45 Waikato Regional Council. I really can't take it any further into that because it's confidential negotiations, fair to say, but I will release them when it's been set in stone. And you gave, as a council, you guys gave CEO and Councillor Kirk and myself the delegation to negotiate that.
No, sorry, the question was, does the power company's share come out of the Waikato Regional Council 45 or out of our 55?
It's separate.
No,
No, it's completely separate.
So it comes before that's applied.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hang on, I've got it here. Councillor Anderson.
Can I just clarify on a comment you made there that we're seeking a least cost solution to the ratepayer?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, thanks.
Definitely.
Okay.
And I would go on record as to saying that I would truly wish that it would cost the ratepayer nothing, because I do not believe. But in the interest of what's happening at Kuritown, that we will sit at the table and we will stay in the canoe, but only to a degree. So, yep, I'm mindful that I don't want to put unnecessary expenditure on this council. I, for one, and I've been on record many times, so I'll say it again, I personally believe high lake levels and high winds cause erosion. Councillor Hacker.
Is that meeting, can we attend that meeting?
I'm not sure, but it's delegated to those.
Yeah. You delegated it to Cooper and...
Okay, so it's not
No, there'll be the power generators there, and sausage rolls might get a little bit squashed. So if there's nothing more on that, I think that answers that question that Councillor Henderson raised about delays in erosion control work. And I sincerely hope it's nothing we've done to cause any delays, and I know it's not, because we now have the resource consents from both the consenting parties, Turangi-Tongariro and Whakaaro Regional Council. So anything further on this Chief Executive Officer's report, either in the financials or any other which way but Liz? Oh, sorry, Councillor Truman?
Yep, I was just wanting to know when the seal on Wellington Road will be carried out. It says next year. Is that next year's
Financial year or calendar year? Financial, so sometime between June and Christmas this year, that will be done. Is that what you're saying? Because that's a financial year.
The advice I'm receiving is yes.
Okay, well, that's what Councillor Truman wants to know.
I'll get Dennis to...
Jim, which I'm trying to find, when Kirsty wants to know when he's going to do this job.
I'll get Dennis to...
this year?
I thought, Ms. Jakes, was that not the tender we opened the other day?
Where is the road? No. It's Kahu.
Okay, cool. Okay, so is there anything further? If there's nothing,
Well, just
oh,
one
sorry,
thing,
Councillor Williams.
with regards to the Kaunihera reserved toilet and changing rooms, I think we allowed 250, didn't we, under the long-term plan?
Yes.
And I think Ms Williams thought that we may be able to fund that from the surplus from the water treatment plant. I see it sitting at 26,488,907 at the moment. So I guess that's not going to be an extraordinary. Hopefully, won't be an extraordinary outcome, is it? When that's paid for in the next financial year.
Well, being as Councillor Williamson has raised that one, I see on the on 2019 that the tenders are significantly higher than the budget. I know that I've been talking to Mr. Ridd about that, because I've always tried to push the upgrade of that pavilion and changing room. And so it might have to be an annual plan submission, Your Worship, from TKMP.
It's probably a fair comment.
Yeah, I agree.
You always, sorry, Mr. Chairman, I've always been an advocate, the same as Councillor Hackling, because it has got a lot of history, and it's something that we did say that we would pursue it through. So yeah, I'd be keen to.
Okay, so I'm sorry.
I sense a workshop.
Yeah, I see. Well, actually, you got me. That one before, Ms. Jakes. If we could add this to that when we're going to do that after school. Yeah, please. Because this doesn't require a decision today, but it requires a decision going forward.
Yeah, thank you.
Just on the school workshop, Mrs. Jakes, I mean, you don't need to produce the information, we've got the information here, it's just more going over the cost and...
Yeah, don't go and dig up more. We don't need more info. Yeah, that's a beautiful report. Or it could be after school.
Beautiful workshop.
School comes 5 o'clock in the evening. Okay, stop it. Okay, moving on. So if there's nothing more there, I'll go back to the front and ask people or someone to move that the Chief Executive Officer's report be received. Move, please.
Yeah, can I just say something on that?
Yes.
Can I just congratulate our CEO, Rob Williams, and Alan Hennon and senior staff, because I said it in the annual plan after the regulars of the long-term plan, and we trimmed everything down to the bone to come out with a 4.4 into this annual plan. I think there's been some sterling work done in the engine room and the finance department and everything else, so I'd just like to say congratulations on doing this.
And, yeah, and when you consider, you know, like the loss and the interest, 800,000 and things like that, it's a sterling effort. So that's fine. I think we're speaking on behalf of everybody in here. Councillor Henderson?
I was just going to agree with those sentiments, that was all.
Cool. Again, would you like to second it? Because I'm going to call for a second, because I think Councillor Downer, have you moved?
Yes, please.
And I'll ask for a seconder.
Second it.
Councillor Henderson, second. All those in favour? Aye. Against? No. Carried. I will now move a motion, please, to move a resolution to exclude members of the... Oh, that's right. Yeah. You don't have to go yet, folks.
And 22.
Okay, so this is our engagements, on my apologies. So before I go around the room and ask for any reports, are there any dates anybody wants to change on here for April? Now we'll need to make a date for that workshop. There'll be 2 now, probably about an hour each. So do you want to set that today, or do you want to, have you got someone here that fits? And the other thing, I had some disturbing information. I'm not going to distribute it on here, but I don't know if my colleague has heard about it. Is this meeting cancelled on the 18th of for Lake Taupo Protection Joint Committee?
Not to the best of my knowledge. I think the 18th was a date that was delayed from previously.
I'll tell you something later. Yeah, okay, we'll just leave it there. So are there any more dates need to be added or taken? Yes, Shani?
Emergency Management Committee on the 8th of April.
Is that what Mike wanted to do? 8th of April, yeah?
And
So if they're meeting on the 8th of April, what day of the week is that?
Monday, 11 p.m. 11 a.m.
We could have an after-school workshop. So, okay, emergency management. So has anyone got a suggestion for these? It's normally Tuesdays, you guys like
Make it the same day as the other workshop,
8th?
Tuesday the 16th.
16th, that's, how long does that one likely take? 10 till 12?